The leader of the free world, Joe Biden, a man less equipped to perform his duties than a eunuch on his wedding night, has interrupted one of his many daytime naps in order to announce that he will not be attending the King's coronation. The UK, America's closest ally, an economic, military and diplomatic partner on the world stage, will not be honoured with the presence of a man so decrepit he makes the cast of Last of the Summer Wine look positively sprightly. The only advantage of Biden not coming is that at least he won't turn up and forget King Charles's name and call him Princess Diana or something. But this decision by the president and his team is an extraordinary insult to the United Kingdom. Every world leader you can shake a stick at will be there, apart from the head of state of our greatest friend, with whom we partnered to defeat Adolf Hitler in the Second World War. Instead, we're told, we'll be fobbed off with an appearance by his other half, Dr. Jill Biden. Now, to be fair, I do like this lady, and it's impressive that he's married to a doctor, although these days he'd be better off married to a crack team of nurses. You do have to ask yourself, would he last the flight? I suspect we'd lose him somewhere over Belgium, as he's halfway through The Hangover 2. Ultimately, this is an extraordinary diplomatic insult. It's not surprising from a Democratic Party that seems to have an institutional chip on its shoulder about the United Kingdom, with endless Democrats banging on about the British Empire and our links to slavery, which, yes, were horrific, but neglecting to mention that it was the United Kingdom that ended slavery decades before the Americans got around to it. And it was, of course, America that shipped slaves straight to their mainland, which we never did, and had effective apartheid in the 50s and 60s before the brilliant civil rights movement kicked in. But now they want to give us a kicking by snubbing our impressive and dynamic new king on his big day. We're used to this. Don't forget it was President Obama who disgracefully tried to intervene in British politics when he urged Brits not to vote for Brexit in 2016, saying that if we had the temerity to restore our sovereignty and go it alone, we would be, and I quote, at the back of the queue for a trade deal. What a way to speak to your closest ally. Can you imagine if a British Prime Minister spoke out in relation to an issue within American politics? It wouldn't happen, and they wouldn't have it, and rightly so. After all, they got mightily cheesed off when my old mate, Piers Morgan, got involved in the gun debate when he hosted a show on CNN. The Americans don't want to be dictated to by a foreign power, and neither do we. Take Biden's unhelpful interventions in regard to the Northern Ireland Protocol, which was skewed towards the interests of the EU and against the best interests of the people of Northern Ireland and the whole of the UK. Stay in your lane, Big Joe. Which, by the way, when it comes to it, will be the final nail in the coffin for Remainers everywhere. Do you know what that is? A trade deal with Donald Trump. At that point, Britain becomes an unstoppable global economic force. But it won't happen under Joe Biden, who I consider to be no great friend of this country. He didn't even answer the then Prime Minister Boris Johnson's calls when he organised America's disastrous evacuation from Afghanistan. This treatment of King Charles is a shocker, and millions of proud Americans will be ashamed at their president's behaviour in not turning up. I know most Americans would want their great country to be represented for this massive moment in history, the installation of a new British king following on from the iconic reign of Elizabeth II. Rather than sending his other half, Jill Biden, perhaps he should send another US icon. Mickey Mouse. We'll get far more sense out of him. So much for the special relationship, folks. With friends like these, who needs enemies?